Fast food employees. What's the one item on your respective chain's menu that you will absolutely not eat under any circumstances? r/ask Reddit. Caseykins asks, fast food employees. What's one item on your respective chain's menu that you will absolutely not eat under any circumstances? Hi, my name is Kiffinyjean, and if you think this is interesting, make sure to like and subscribe and let me know. Enthusiastic for Few says, former BK employee of 6 years here. The food was actually good if it was fresh. The issue is the staff management. Sauce bottles would never get completely emptied and cleaned. People wouldn't change their gloves between doing different tasks or would be texting with those gloves and then make your food. Also, all the items that go into making your food, lettuce, cheese, etc., was all tracked via time stickers. Think a little clock. So if you brought out new cheese, the rules were it could only be left at room temp for 4 hours. If you brought it out at 12, you'd mark the sticker for 4 p.m., and at that point it would have to be thrown away. Well, that never happened. Everything got stickers replaced to make sure that they were always good in case of surprise inspection. Whenever I trained people, I give a few rules to live by. If it's dirty, clean it. If it's out of place, organize it. If you wouldn't eat it, don't serve it. From a customer perspective, always order your food with a slight modification, like mayo. This will ensure your food's made fresh instead of you getting one that's been made previously to speed things up. However, can't guarantee the food it's being made with is fresh. I'm Muffin Sour says, I can't eat Burger King anymore due to my family overeating it. But when I did, I always ordered the crispy chicken sandwich, but with no tomatoes or lettuce. It wasn't uncommon for me to notice that they'd just pluck those right off. Or another example I have is when I would order the spicy chicken sandwich, which usually just had the spicy sauce, you could see the mayo on it. Actually, I like mayo, so I was fine with it. But that was just a normal one that they added with the spicy on. Maybe mine was just lazy though. As I said, I refuse to eat anything from there anymore, really, except for the fries, because it was overeaten by my family. Vic Vinegar Bodyguard says, the BK I worked at rarely did full sandwiches on the heat lamp, only for breakfast. But the managers also just told us to reset the timers when food expired. So we made the sandwich to order, but the meat could have been there for a couple of hours. I got yelled at for throwing away expired food on multiple occasions. No Sleep for Eternity says, once upon a time, many years ago, BK actually had good food for at least 20 years. For at least the past 20 years, pardon me. I don't understand how I could stay in business. I like Burger King, that's just me. PDX Boob says, my parents like to get Whoppers every so often. There's a certain Whopper taste that even I admit is pretty great and has remained fairly intact to this day. But yeah, their food is total garbage. I do enjoy their hash brown coins. Chicken tenders during the early 90s were the real king. Cersei Allegri says, I worked at a pizza place that was infested with roaches, especially in the back room where we would leave the pizza dough out to sit. We would also find roaches in the ice maker and in the mechanical parts as well as the ice itself. If a restaurant has roaches, nothing is safe. Streberin Libe says, I worked at a Quiznos with a roach problem. Every time the exterminator came, he'd tell the owner he needed to get rid of the boxes of papers on the shelves around the bread. He chose to keep years' worth of paperwork in boxes instead of file cabinets. He would just get a different exterminator the next time. I nearly got fired more than once for throwing away bread bags that I found roaches in, not on, in. The bag room had that roach smell I'll never forget. Lazy Upvote 88. Piles of papers attract roaches? Silver Satire. Yes, they will happily eat cardboard and paper. They also nest in it, which is why when you're moving, it is best not to take random boxes from behind dumpsters or use grocery store boxes if you can help it. I didn't know that, actually. That's kind of interesting. We mostly use IKEA plastic shopping bags to move. They're fantastic and can fit way more stuff in that you can pack in boxes. Cockroaches says SSSSS underscore car underscore go says they also eat the glue on book bindings. So if you have books on a shelf they can reach, they could be in or on the books. They also can come up out of the sink drains at night. We used to have to block the drain every night. I once read an essay by a New Yorker saying she had to gotten so used to roaches that she would just shake them off of her toothbrush and knock them out of her birth control device called a diaphragm without a second thought. And that's how she knew it was time to leave New York. Some things should never be normalized. No Dash Patient says, it's well worth spending 70 cents to $1 on boxes from a store like Walmart. I tried saving them after a move once and never again. Big Bean says, my bro managed a Wiener Schnitzel. Unbelievably, they catered lunch for a few high schools, as did Amici's Pizza. The chili wasn't up to school standard, and they had to add more meat to it in order for it to pass LAUSD code. Of course, they used old burgers, dogs, and expired ground beef from the freezer. Bro bluntly told me, never eat our chili. Munin41 says, took me too long to figure out that dogs are hot dogs. Chatbot says, took me too long to figure out that dogs are hot dogs. They're lying to you, though. They don't even have 50% of real dog meat in those. Oh, ha ha ha. Rasputin says, what kind of fancy school has the budget to order fast food good for everyone? That's a real question. I do remember Amici's Pizza, though, when I was in school. Successful-Cat8572 says, I used to work at a small fast food place. And during training, my manager got mad at me for throwing out slimy corn. She showed me she just rinsed the slime off in the sink and put it back. I find corn suspicious now. Stuart says, that would or should be against safe food codes. I guess nobody wanted to report them. Successful Cat says, of course it is, but the real disgusting thing is that plenty of workers don't care about this. I always threw out the bad stuff when my manager wasn't looking or around, but blah. Stuart says, yeah, true. I know what it's like when coworkers don't want to rock the boat and you've got to keep quiet because you need work. It just stinks. C.D. Murray says, yep, 100% against food safety codes. Slimy food means that bacteria has multiplied enough and died enough to create that slime, which, depending on the bacteria, may also be full of toxins they excrete through digestion or decomposition. Bacteria can be killed with conventional cooking methods. Toxins cannot. If it smells off, throw it out. If it feels off, throw it out. If it tastes off, throw it out. When in doubt, throw it out. Our producers can't handle the content. I'm on Tiza says, do I dare ask what slimy corn is? Hey, I love you says, I assume it's just the kind of wetness slime that develops when vegetables are getting past their prime. For example, if you leave a package of lettuce in the fridge a bit too long, you may notice the leaves are getting a bit slimy and limp. I would guess that's what OP was talking about. Lampshade says, oh, it's a great name for a punk band. Vermilion Love says, Slimy Corn, the Corn cover band. Pronky says, I was a shift supervisor at a fast food place, and years later, I still refuse to eat anything with ice cream in it. The machine we had was always covered in mold and spoiled cream, while the owner's fix was to scrape the mold and spray some Clorox on it. Carcinicate says, it depends on the place in management. I used to work at a DQ, and our manager was extraordinarily anal about cleanliness. DQ does random audits, and failing one is a huge knock against your business. Houndberry, thank you for restoring my faith in DQ. That's the only place I ever order ice cream, so it's a relief to know I haven't been eating moldy ice cream. Carcinicate says, well, it obviously depends on the management, but my manager was quite scared of audits. Immediately after posting my previous comment, I scrolled down and read the comment about DQ cheesecake pieces. We did in fact rotate our cheesecake, and it never combined into a single block. Beyond being a health hazard, it was also a waste of food and money, which he was pretty anal about. Well, Scooby Doom says, as somebody who used to work at DQ, I imagine most locations would be safe. We didn't really get audits, but the sheer volume of ice cream being sold meant that maintenance needs to be kept up to some extent. If you have a peanut allergy or are allergic to something else on the ice cream menu, you should mention it though. The blenders aren't cleaned between every blizzard, so there can be contaminants from previous blizzards or shakes. But at least my location would sanitize it first. Strength Ashamed says, apparently McD's machines aren't always broken. It just takes a 3-hour cleaning process to sterilize them, and they do it daily. It's much easier to just say they're broken than to explain to people that it just takes a while to clean them. Sadamel says, I'm a McDonald's manager, and it varies from location to location depending on the machine model, but the stores I've worked at did a total clean every other week. But our machines are programmed to go into a heating cycle to kill off bacteria in the shake mix, and that happens around 1 a.m. and finishes around 5 a.m. Yee says, worked in McDonald's for the UK for about 2 years. Where I worked, it was the same. Small cleaning heating cycle nightly, full clean once a week. McDonald's Shake Sundae machines break a lot, and it's a huge piece of machinery designed to handle sub-zero temperatures while it's next to a kitchen. Something's gonna go wrong. Far too often, a trainee put in the mix the wrong tank, and the manager would have to spend an hour or so draining it. Well, what is the worst story you saw? Is there a story that you think is much worse than one of the ones we got to? Let us know down below. Like and subscribe, and thanks for listening to Kiffinyjean.